Hello and welcome back to the making of the farmhouse. In the last video we left it with just the beams exposed. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and start making the door and windows. So I'm just going to use the same beams again. I'm going to alter them just slightly. So in wireframe mode I'm going to bring this down a little bit. Not too much. It's about here. Select the whole thing and make it a little bit thinner. So now I've got this nice little beam here to work with. So with this selected now, I'm going to go ahead and set the origin as per usual, duplicate it over, and this will become our doorway. So it's looking pretty good. So I'll just duplicate that again, and this is going to be for the top. So rotating that by 90 degrees, and I'm going to put that right on top, just there, and make sure that it's lined up. So that's all lined up nicely. Then bring the vertices in. And do the same for the other side. And I think that line can go up just a little bit more. It's about there. So we have this here now, and I'm going to go ahead and fill in this side. Quick check and a quick UV edit on that side. So as you can see, this is now a nice little doorway. I'm keeping the width of the beams here and here because it needs to kind of go through the actual wall itself. So I'm going to go ahead and select all those, join them up, set the origin back into the surface, and that's the door pretty much done. Just make sure that it is in line, which it is. So that's perfect. So I'm just going to duplicate that. Rotate it. And I'm going to pop them in to where they need to be. So it needs to be here. Just making sure that it's kind of in the middle, which it sort of is. Need to go over just a little bit more. Kind of about there. And I'll bring this one in as well. So that needs to come to about here possibly. So that's the doors in. And now for the windows. Now the windows are going to be a little bit different. I'm still going to start off with the same way. So I'm going to use my beam here again. I'm going to use this person. Now windows are usually about kind of waist height and then up. So they come above the head. So I'm going to use this beam again. And I'm just going to bring this down. So probably just about there. And again, it does need to be a bit thinner, so I'm going to make this a little bit thin, just like so. Always set in the origin, that's fine. Now another step that I do need to do, just move that out of the way for a second. I don't really need that anymore. So I'm going to highlight all that, press Ctrl and A, and then all transforms, so everything's as it should be. Doing that just brings in all the transforms back into where you need it to go. So now I sit on this, and you can see it's back to the origin now, which is fine, because everything's going to be connected up anyway. So back to the window. So I'm going to bring this person back in. Now the windows they're not going to be very big windows. So I'm going to just duplicate that and bring that to about, so just on the inside. Bring that on the inside as well. So I've got quite a narrow window. So just rotate that again. Now I'm going to put one kind of here, and then one needs to go at the bottom. So this goes just above the player's head, and it will need to be a bit thinner as well. So bring that to there. Make it a little bit thinner on the top, not by too much. That's about right. Now I can go ahead and I can duplicate that to about waist height, which is about there. So now we've got the sort of outer window support. I'm just going to go ahead and do the inner window as well now, and then join it all up. So with this selected, I'm going to just duplicate it again and bring it in. Coming into wireframe mode, and then back into edit mode, bring this down. So this is just going to end up being the actual frame of the window itself. So this does need to be a lot thinner than the actual outer side, but it's going to be the same texture, so just needs to be all textured the same. Okay, so that's perfectly lined up, and I'm going to make this quite thin, so it's about that thin. And again, to the surface, just duplicate that, pop that over to that side. I'm going to duplicate that again. Rotate it on the Y as per usual. Make sure it lines up to that. And then make sure that these line up. It's just going to come in here and line that up to there. And make sure this side lines up to there as well. Then our whole thing can come up to about there. Duplicate it again and bring it down to about there. Okay. Now they are all a bit too wide. So what I want to do is I'm going to bring them all in just by a little. So on the y-axis, I'm just going to squeeze them in, just so it sits in here a little better. Bring forward just a little, so we've got a little bit of a window edge on the inside. Now with that done, I can bring this into the center here, into wireframe mode, and go ahead and line these up. So I think that one just needs to be lined up a little bit better. I'm just going to bring that just to here. Of course, that needs to be lined up again. just so it snaps in rather nicely. Then we've got this nice kind of window frame look. Again, I'm going to make this a little bit thinner so it just comes in just a little bit. I'm using the bottom again. Use that again. So I'll just duplicate that. Rotate it by 90. And that does need to be a little bit thinner. And then all I've got to do now is line them up. So I'll line up that side. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring that in here and line this up to that edge there. Make sure this is lined up as well, which it is. So again, to the surface, quick duplication, and bring that over to where it needs to be. So about there. Go ahead and double check that it's all in the right place, which it looks like it is. Make sure the textures are right, so that's looking fine. So now I've got a window. I've got a nice little window here. So all I've got to do now is if I select everything, bring it all in, Control J, set mask to surface. So now I've got this really nice looking kind of shortish window. The glass will go in later, like I said. So I'm just going to go ahead and come into the top viewport and bring that into the center here. And I want it kind of in the middle, so in the middle of this square. So that looks about right. Another duplication, and I'm going to bring that just back, pop that in. It overlaps both sides for a reason, just so when I actually come and put the walls in, it makes it look better. So another quick duplication, and I'm going to bring that one to the middle here. And then I can do another duplication and put this one where it needs to be. So again, just going to put that so it comes each side. And then I'm going to bring that into the middle of this here. So it's the only kind of window that's not really aligned. So that's sort of in the middle. And that's kind of in the middle, so it's that post and that post. It's kind of in the middle of those two. Probably about there. As long as it's rough. So that is the windows and doors now in and done. And in the next video I can get on and do the walls. So what I will do, I'll just go ahead and I will do the walls in the next video, and now I can show you how I cut them out, do the boolean, exactly the same as I did the chapel, pretty much. So I'm going to do the bottom walls and the top walls. So these end parts will be filled in, this will be filled in. I probably will end up putting a displacement modifier on some of the walls, just so it brings out the brickwork a little bit. But we'll see what happens. So until the next video, that's it for now.